Hello everybody, it's Mystic Games coming at you with another Subnautica tier list today. If you are interested in watching my playthrough, I have a whole playlist for that and Below Zero, so check those out. Like, subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. Today we're going to be using Lou Fister's biomes here. And the reason I'm using Lou Fister is because he put the name of the biomes, which I do appreciate. So we're going to start with the blood kelp. There are two blood kelp zones. It is horrifying. I'm going to go, this is S, A, B, C, and D for me too. By design, I want to say that's like an S tier. Blood kelp is like, it scares you when you enter it. I think it does a really good job. The bulb zone, I'm going to put in pretty cool, or A. It does a pretty good job, but it's really dark in the bulb zone. You do have the electrical eels there, and they work really well with the bulbs. So, yeah, I'm going to say that's an A tier zone. I do like it. I've built bases there before, same with the blood kelp. The crag field doesn't have much going on for it. I'm actually going to put this in, this is probably one of the worst zones. It's very, very dark, even during the day. It's just full of bone sharks. It does have a couple cool things, but it doesn't have much going for it. Crash zone. This is where you see your good buddy, the Leviathan, of the Reaper variety. Let's see here. I'm going to put it in B, or decent. It's good, but it's ambiatic, right? Like, it's very ambiance. It has a good ambiance for what it is. And for that, I'm going to put it in decent, but it is a very bare zone. I mean, the Aurora is there. That's really why you're going there most of the time. And if you go to explore the other side, it's obviously Reaper Central, and you're just going to have Reapers all over you. It is a good zone, though. I don't think it's bad nor good. I think it's a good average zone, I would say. The dead zone. Wow. Where to put the dead zone? How much do I like it? I think I'm going to put it in A. I almost want to put it in S, but I think it's an A tier zone. It's a very cool way to not allow you to go off the map. Something I was going to say in a future video, and I'm just going to say it here. If I were to have done Subnautica, I think I would have released an expansion before doing Below Zero. And I would have expanded on going into the dead zone, maybe making a sub that you need kyanite, for, and then maybe a new resource that's off one of the zones on the edge. And then when you transfuse those together, it lets you go to like floating islands that are underwater or something off the sides, and you have two new zones, like to the east and the west, one to the, to past the aura, so you actually have to go through the crash zones, through all the Reapers there to even get there, which would make it interesting. And then the other side would be through the dunes, which would be essentially the same idea. But yeah, the dead zone's really cool. Your ghost Leviathans come out, they try to eat you up. You can build a base there, they spawn in and just run into your base, which is always entertaining. So yeah, it's a cool way of not letting you leave. I think there was a lot more they could have done with Subnautica in general, and I think the dead zone could have been used in a sense to expand it. So next we're going to do the dunes. I think the dunes is about as good as the crash zone. I'm trying to think if there's anything in the dunes I like more than the crash zone. I do like that it has little alcoves that you can go under, like craters and stuff. But I don't think it's better than the crash zone. I think they're about equal. It's another Reaper Leviathan area, pretty much. I think it has sand sharks and stuff too. There may be an alien base there, and yeah, I believe there is. Grand Reef. Oh, I like the Grand Reef. I like the Grand Reef more than I like the Blood Kelp Zone. Does anything reach the pinnacle of the Blood Kelp Zone for me? I'm going to put it in S tier. Okay, so you have the Ghost Leviathan there. You have Warpers. You have the EMP Squids. AKA Crab Squids. It has a lot going on. You have the base there from the Degassi, the underwater base. Above it is one of the floating islands, which I don't know if that's on the list. I think it's just the underwater zones here. But that is a cool area as well. It lets you get all your land plants that you can then plant, which everyone that has watched my playthroughs knows I love the fauna just as much as I like the flora. So I'm a big fan of planting flora. So I'm going to put the Grand Reef in S. I feel like it's a well-deserving spot. Also, the crash is pretty cool there, too. Alright, Grassy Plateaus. I'm going to put this in A. I do like it. I think it's one of the more ambiotic zones that you come into in the game. I just like the red grass. It kind of hides the quartz in it. I think it's a pretty well-developed zone. You have the floaters there. You have the big reef backs. And, you know, the first time you're playing, you hear them making their sounds. Although, they aren't too scary, because it sounds like a whale, if you ever heard a whale. That's kind of what I thought when I first heard it. But I do like the Grassy Plateau. I just like the red, I think. Inactive Lava Zone. That's above the lava lakes. You have a big sea dragon there. You know what? I'm going to put this in D. I actually feel like this is worse than the crash in the dunes. It has a lot of reused like fish that they recolored. It's a cool zone. I just think it's not that great. I don't feel like it's unique enough for what it is. Jelly Shroom Caves, S. The symbiotic relationship between the crab snakes and the mushrooms they live in is just super cool. The purple lighting is just cool. You also have another Degassi base down there. There's a bunch of magnetite down there, which is good. It's a cool zone to go to. It's a cool zone to explore. It has a couple entryways. Yeah, I think it's just a good zone. I think it's one of the cooler zones in the game. Kelp Forest. I'm going to put this in decent. I almost want to put it in A, but I don't think it reaches A. Is one of the starter zones. It's unique. It's very unique. So the three like starter areas, which is the kelp and the grassy, and then the safe shallows, are such like they're different. They're so like I don't want to say they're so different. They're different enough where when you enter one, you're like, oh, this is cool. This is new. And they work very well as like a trio, I would say. But when I'm trying to think of them separately, if I just saw the kelp forest by itself, right, I don't think it's that crazy. It does have useful fauna and flora, and it's it helps you build up in the beginning. It serves its purpose, I guess, and it is cool. I just don't think it's as cool as the ones above. Lava lakes. I think that's going to be a hot take. I'm going to put this in A. And I think most people will probably put this zone in S, I feel like. I think it's really cool with the whole lava theme. I think it's cool that the final alien base is, in there, in the nooks and cranny of it, and you can, like, go into it. You can actually go all around the base as well. And there's a big sea dragon guarding it, and it swims around and shoots fire at you. It's all very, very good for what it is. I've actually never built a base down there. I think it's just too deep. I don't really like going past the Lost River. I think it's just because I can't get my Seamoth down there. But it would be an interesting place to build a base, just to observe the sea dragon swimming around, I feel like. But yeah, it's a cool zone. It has everything that the inactive lava zone has, but it does it better, I feel like. And that's why I put it in A. So the Lost River, I'm putting Lost River in S. I really like the whole super cold water, like, that you swim into and it, like, burns you. I just think it's very cool. There's so much going on in the Lost River, too. You have, like, different zones in the Lost River from each entrance that are slightly different than the other entryways. You have, like, holes that just drop down to the inactive lava zone. Then you have another passage that kind of swerves down and goes into the inactive lava zone. So it just has a lot going on. I would say that they could have... I kind of wish that the... I forgot what it's called. The ghost eel creature that's down there was slightly different, and then they had the blighter. It would have been cooler, I feel like, if they had gotten something slightly better for it, but it does suit the zone. I don't hate it, it's just I don't feel like it's as cool as some of the other fauna. So then we're on mountains. Mountains are probably D tier. Although they do have that really cool, like, you can go underwater and you can go all up in it. But is it... You don't really have to explore any of it, I guess, is what I'm saying. It is really cool, though. I'm going to put it there. I just don't feel like it's necessary, in a sense, other than the base is there. And it has one of the islands on it. I do like how it has like a multi-tier zone. You can kind of go through the mountain and go up and down and through, and then all around it has reapers. So it is a cool, interesting zone, but it's just not necessary to traverse, really. Mushroom Forest is such a cool zone. It's like one of the most peaceful it's one of the later zones that's pretty peaceful. There is a reaper in one of them, I believe. And then there's some bone sharks, but otherwise you don't really have to worry about anything there. It's pretty safe, and it's just very cool, and you can build on the mushrooms, and yeah, I just think it's cool. Safe Shallows. I'm going to put this in S. It's your opening to the game. It gets you into a false sense of security so that it can later, just take that away from you and put you into the death zone. I think you're the only survivor that lands in the Safe Shallows, and it's probably why you survive. That being said, I actually feel like there were a couple pods in the game, around in other zones like the Kelp Forest that probably could have been okay. But, yeah, in the Grassy Plateau as well. But yeah, the Safe Shallows is cool. It has, cool resources. It's very cool to swim around in. It looks good, feels good. There's caves in it. It has slight variations, and you kind of have to explore it. You don't have to explore it all, but you do have to explore it to get resources to start, and it is a necessary zone, and I'm going to put it in S. The Sea Treader's Path, very, very bland zone. I'm going to put it in decent. I do think it's a very cool zone in the sense that you have the big sea treader leviathans walking around, but in the sense of the zone itself, there isn't much going on, right? I think you have a part of the ship there that you can search, and a bunch of warpers, which in my playthrough was a nightmare. They were pulling me into walls and everything else, which you should definitely check that out if you haven't. But the Sea Treader's Path is a pretty cool zone. I just don't think it's as cool as the ones above. It's just too bland. The Sea Treaders themselves are awesome, though, and I do like them. The Sparse Reef. Sparse Reef. Oh, okay. That actually took me a second to remember where this was. I was in here a ton in my playthroughs, both of them. Just that being said, we're going to put it down here because I literally am in there all the time. But it's not a very interesting zone, I would say. It does have, I want to say, Life Pod 19 in it. And it is a very good place to mine for certain resources. And it's relatively safe for the most part. There's not much going on in there. So, yeah, it is a cool zone. It's useful. I would say you're going to be in it a little bit more than the inactive lava. Well, you kind of have to go there too, but I would say you're going to probably be here more than you would to be the mountains for sure, and probably the inactive lava zone. So we're going to put it a little higher on the list. But, cool. Cool, cool, cool. That's what I'm going to say. But it's not that cool. Okay, underwater islands. I'm going to put that in A. I do like the idea of the floaters connecting to land masses and then making them float above. I think that's a very interesting concept. Although there's tons of bone sharks there, they, are attracted to light. There's a crash there that you can explore, which I definitely did in my playthrough. And if you want to see the nightmare that I experienced there, watch my playthrough. Just for that, B tier. No, I'm joking. No, it's going to be A tier. I think the underwater islands and the giant floaters are just a super cool concept, and I wish they did more with that than they did. You can also go inside some of the floating islands, which is nifty too, but there's not much going on in there. Anyways, that's my tier list for the zones. I appreciate the maker of this list because they put the names on the zones, and it was actually very hard to find one that had the names with them. And although I've played Subnautica twice, it is nice to have names with the zones when you're trying to do a tier list. So thank you for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. I am going to do plenty more content with Subnautica. I have some more unique stuff coming out that I have planned, and hopefully I can get that out in the next couple of months, because I'm pretty excited for that content if I'm able to get it there. Anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed, and this is Mystic Games. I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy, guys. Later.